Hello and welcome to Anatomy of Us. I'm your host, Melanie Studley.
What's up, guys? My name is Seth Studley. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist. And today, we are talking about boobs.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, we are. And that's the show. It's a hilarious conversation we had last night. We actually learned some stuff about each other and our opinions and our feelings and stuff. And we got real. And we wanted to share that with you. So, welcome to the show.
That's right. I certainly hope
Still
we're recording.
tweaking this stuff, still dialing this stuff in. But I continue to be excited. And I said the show was about boobs, but why don't you elaborate on that?
Well, first of all, if you're new here, welcome. My name is Melanie Studley. I'm the actual host of this show. Seth is my sidekick. And
No,
the
I'm
show is
not.
called Anatomy of Us, but we bring real help for real couples because there's not a lot of good real help out there. But what he's talking about is breast augmentation / boob jobs.
Boob jobs.
Breast implant illness / explant.
Right. And so the point of this is we're not making it about us and Melanie's boobs, but we're using that story to get to the real stuff of talking about how we are having more real conversations recently, thanks to a book we read, 12 Rules for Life by Jordan Peterson. And it's basically say, hey, if more couples would actually say what's on their mind, say what they're feeling, say what they're thinking in real time rather than like dismissing feelings or not saying what they meant and then paying the price later when you're like, who the hell are you? Our marriage is terrible.
Right.
I want out, right? So that is what we're talking about. Conflict avoided is conflict multiplied. And I've done that personally in my marriage life and other lives. I'm a cat or something. I don't know.
Former lives. You're not even
Right.
in the frame, honey.
Okay, now I'm in the frame. And I'm not doing it that way anymore. And we had a fun date last night. We went and got some Dozone, some Chinese food, and it was awesome. And we had a great conversation. And we were like, let's not talk about that. Let's save it for the show. And that's what we're doing. So let's
Right.
dive straight in.
Well, let's back up and give some details. I don't know if you're new to the show, you may not know, or we haven't talked about it much, but I had breast augmentation done in 2013, I think. Potential, yeah. 2013-ish, or I don't even know when it was. It was like 8 years ago.
Right.
And so let me preface, like set the scene for all of this, because the actual day this last December, when I was preparing for my brother's service, like memorial, he died last year, last month. And I was
December.
December. And I was getting ready for it and I was getting dressed and I'm like, what is wrong with my boob? Like, what is it doing? Like, it's smaller than the other one. What's going on? And I didn't, it was like too much going on to even contemplate thinking about it. And then slowly over the next couple of days, it got flatter and flatter and flatter. And I was like, what?
Deflated.
Yeah. And I was like, what is going on? And so I'm like, well, I popped one of my boobs and they're, what is it? Saline? Yeah. They're saline.
Yes.
And I'm going to give you a lot of details here because I've had women ask me about these. So I'm just going to give you all the details. Like, they're subglandular, not submuscular, meaning they're underneath the gland, not the muscle. But there's a big difference in how they do the surgery, there's a lot of difference about the placement of them. So mine are subglandular saline implants. And I realize now, because yesterday I had an appointment to talk about what to do. And that's a lot of it. So this conversation is going to be sort of like 2 or 3 different conversations wove together, hath been woven together, woven.
Get wove.
And I had an appointment yesterday to figure out what to do about said deflated boob. And discovered, so I went to a different clinic place because I didn't like the original one that I went to, and discovered that I just had like really terrible care at the first one that I went to. Like, they didn't help me with everything from like the profile, meaning the shape of the implant, to the size of the implant for my body, like all these different things. The doctor was like, man, you just did not get good treatment at your other place, and they did not help you, like all these different things. So that actually made me feel really good that he was like,
Kind of reassuring.
yeah, it made me feel good. But anyway, where do you want to start with this conversation though?
There's so many places I want to start.
Well, actually, let's
okay.
go to the funny part.
Just ask me a question and then change the subjects.
No, it's not.
Typical woman.
Golly, weirdo. But I want to start with where it became sort of the funniest when we were in the car driving and we got to the dough zone in the Renton Landing, which is, I highly recommend the clear noodle soup.
Yes.
So good.
Hot and sour
Clear noodle soup. But anyway, we got to the dough zone and we're like debating, like, do we get explant? Like explant means to have them taken out, right?
Right.
And then
well, definitely yes, for that we have to.
Right. So, but there's options. There's an explant with a replacement, get a different pair of fake boobs put in, or an explant and nothing, or an explant with a breast lift. Now, an explant and nothing on my body would be really abysmal. Like I'm not a very meaty lady. Meatier. I'm not very fatty.
Meaty?
I'm not. I don't have a lot of
what
breast tissue.
What do you got, filet mignons on your chest?
I don't have filet mignons on my chest. I have the anti of mignons. I have like empty bread bags on my chest.
Okay. Don't self-deprecate yourself
I'm not
too much.
You haven't seen my deflated boobs and you are not allowed to say what you think about them.
Okay.
Because you haven't even seen them. But if I took the implants out all the way, like I'm going to be as clear as possible. Like my boobs look like saggy, like a drawing of an old lady's sag boobs. I'm 38 years old, had 3 children.
Do we share too much?
No, I don't care. Cause
Is this TMI?
No, if I was looking for a podcast about this, I would be like, thank you, Lord, for someone saying that thing, because it's very hard to find information on this stuff.
I think you mean Lort.
Thank you, Lord. Laertes. Thank you, Laertes. But anyway.
Okay.
So what was I saying? We're debating what to do.
Right.
Like get the and the other thing too is like, okay, if I got the explant and a boob lift, if you ever Googled the process of a boob lift, it is disgusting.
It's a major surgery.
They
with
take your
staples.
nipple off. And the doctor was like, well, because your implants are subglandular, if the blood flow to your nipple area for any reason has been diminished, your nipple could die. You heard what I said.
It sounded so funny. It's like, could die.
Die. Your nipple could die.
Going back to the who's extra or not, we know who it is.
It's like I'm Chris
They have
Farley
red
or
hair.
something.
Right.
Your nipple could die.
Oh boy. Okay. So we were having this conversation of, major surgery or major surgery or what?
Well, can I tell the difference though? So if I had a breast lift, it would be a 5-hour surgery.
Right.
I mean, that's ridiculous. That's
a big one.
Think of these things. And it's ridiculous.
Yeah. I wouldn't want you to have a 5-hour surgery.
I don't want a 5-hour surgery.
Right. So we were just talking over some sake and some
hot sake.
Chinese beer and got a little loose. Singha. I think it's Qingdao. But anyway, and we were talking, I was like, wait a minute. What if, so we're talking about deflation and saline and one sagging and all this stuff. What if the whole tables were turned? And I was like, I don't know, babe. Like, so, I mean, I got a nut job and made my nuts bigger. So I don't know. We liked it at the time. It was fun. You know, it was like sexy and stuff. And it's like, oh, great. Big nuts.
At least you're the one making nut jokes this time.
Right?
It's almost always me.
Big nuts. But like, okay, I have bad news.
One of these nuts is popped.
Right. These nuts.
One of these nuts is not like the other one. Nothing even happened.
It's not even turned in. And just if the tables were turned, it's like one of my nuts deflated, and you found it very attractive to, I don't know, big nuts or whatever. And so I'd be like, oh, okay, I got to go have surgery to, I don't know, make the nuts match now.
I hope the kids never run across this on YouTube.
Oh my gosh, I hope not either. And just what if it was...
If you have, turn it off.
Right, yeah, Mariner. If it was flipped like that, it just seems so silly,
Stupid.
but it's normalized that we're talking about, one of your body parts deflated and
you were
it's
like, should
flat
I
now.
inject it with silicone?
Should you put a thing in there now? And so I'm going to get to the real part of the conversation. That's just like the humor of it did not escape me. And it's just like, what did I say? I'd like moved from the nuts to like the wiener thing, you know, and it's like,
You're just dying laughing.
I know
about
that
it.
you love like a big one, right? It's like, it deflated.
Oh no,
right?
You said
what
to
did
me,
I say?
you were like, I just want you to do whatever feels comfortable. Because Seth was saying, he's like, I don't actually want you to get another boob job. He's like, I would rather you just have them out and get the lift and just like have nothing in your body, be done with it.
It seems safer.
So then he's talking, he's like, I just want you to feel comfortable with whatever. And then he's like like imagine, like he goes, think about what I'm even saying. If it was anything else, like you can have a micro penis, it's fine. Or you can have an 8-inch horse dong, remember?
Oh, yeah.
And he
Did
was
we
like,
record? No.
he was laughing because he's like, what am
Right.
I even saying to you? Like, it just sounds so weird. And then he's like, of course you didn't want like a micro penis, like in flat boobs.
I guess that has oh my God, what are we talking about? So a micro, like 1-inch penis has a very different job than like super small boobs would.
But
you know
not-
what I'm saying?
But no, not, and I
No,
mean,
no. Like intercoursally, right? Aesthetically.
intercoursally.
I understand what you're saying aesthetically, but
Right.
like intercoursarily, it's like, okay, well, micro penis, no, probably not.
Well, I don't know what you're getting at, but anyway, it was a very funny conversation and trying to reframe a very serious conversation, you know, like a very
Right.
serious thing.
Something that's on the horizon, like
Right.
it's not going to not happen
Right.
either way.
For sure. But I do want to give more detail about so yesterday I went to my appointment and the doctor was really awesome, by the way, but we talked about all these different options and
Was
then
it a guy?
It was a guy, Dr. Hutter, I think is his
Beat the
name.
hell out of him.
He was really nice.
I'm just kidding.
What was funny is I was literally sitting there talking to him. I'm like, I just have to take my shirt off and show my boobs to this guy in like 8 minutes. It's so weird. And like he put my apron thing on me when he put my thing on when we were done. It just was like, this is the weirdest. And there has to be like a person, a witness or whatever. So and I even called it out. I'm like, this is just the weirdest job. You just have to stand there and try not to look at me. And then we were like, started talking. It was funny. She was super funny and nice. But like, you know, he's like taking pictures of my actual boobs. And then he puts my like tiny paper thing on, like as if it's like a knight in shining armor, like we're going on a date or something. It was just so weird and like surreal. Like, what is happening right now?
It's interesting.
Like,
the
actually,
whole concept is
makes
interesting.
me think of you getting your.
We're going there?
Well, why? You can't go there. I'm going to take us there immediately. The school bus, the magic school bus.
Oh boy. So I'll tell the story.
Surfing
then.
on a sound wave.
Okay, so man, is this a real podcast?
Let it be.
I don't even know. So I don't know, 2 weeks ago or something. It's like we're having a bunch of medical procedures recently or something. And I was like, okay, well, I got to go to the doctor, right? And it's not for like, you know, like
It's orchitis.
Right.
Ball pain.
Ball pain.
You got to stop playing.
That's right. So maybe you dudes have had this before. And sometimes you got to get an ultrasound on your boys. Right?
You usually don't talk like
A little
that. That's funny.
investigation on your nuts. Sound like Kev on stage, don't I?
You wish.
Oh, I know. And your mutts are musty.
You can't even say it.
Your mutts are musty. So anyway, oh boy. Okay, so I had to get an ultrasound on my knuts, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, please, like, just be like an ugly lady or something. I don't know. This is so stupid. And this is embarrassing. And
in walks a not ugly lady.
in walks a not ugly lady, a nurse. And I'm like, shit. No, really, because it's embarrassing, you know?
You don't know that half of embarrassing.
Well,
you
okay,
ain't
yeah, I've
given
never had a
vaginal
kid and like
birth.
had a vag, open.
Think of it like I've had given vaginal birth and had like interns, just like, you know, so they got their clipboards.
Damn, that's some bacon. Is that what they said? Is that the note that they took?
I'm gonna keep myself
That's
contained.
thick like smoked bacon. Damn. I don't even know.
That bacon be popping out babies.
Oh, okay, so
Anyway.
here's the point. An attractive nurse looked at my nuts and I couldn't do anything about it, and it's super
And
embarrassing.
scanned them.
And scanned the nuts, right? So I don't know how we were talking about that.
Because it's funny. It's just a moment. You
it's
have to
just
say,
real, I guess.
I
And
don't know.
yeah, but after a while, I was like, what else am I going to do?
not get my nuts scanned.
Not get, looked at or something like
Right.
that. So, but what are we
what
saying?
I was saying was I wanted to talk more about the procedure that I had done. I had a procedure done yesterday.
Okay, don't talk about the procedure.
No, people give a crap. You might not care, but I care. And so does people. So does people.
All right, go people then.
So I want to share that I went in, again, one of my boobs has deflated to the flatness of the pancake, and the other one is like overly large because it was overboobed when I got them done. And I had seen through immense YouTubing that you can actually have your saline implant drained, like as an inpatient, like in the office thing. Like it's not a big deal.
Mhm.
And I thankfully the guy, the Dr. Hutter, was like, hey, we can drain this. It takes like 5 minutes and it doesn't really hurt. It costs, $500, but whatever. But it's been really embarrassing to have one giant boob and one flat inverted boob for how long? A month now. And like
walking around with one giant nut.
Right. As so many people know about. And so I've had to literally be like padding one half of my chest with, and I don't have pad things to pad it with. So I've
Toilet
like
paper.
find them from my bathing suits and like stack them together. It's ridiculous. But so anyway, he numbed the side of my boob and put a needle in it and drew out like one of those giant like syringe things, drew out like just a ton of stuff. And he's like, okay, well.
Was it clear?
Which actually made me feel good. I'm like, well, at least it's not like gross and decrepit or whatever, but it was just clear. And then he's like, yeah, the rest will just leak into your body. So I'm like, cool. And he's like, if it doesn't leak enough, just push on it. I'm like,
well, it's saline, so it's just salt water basically.
Yeah.
It's not like poisonous silicone
going
through. Right. So I think the point of this whole thing, we're not just talking about like medical procedure, week or something. This isn't just about us talking about all the medical procedures and stuff that are going on. It is some of the conversations that we're having above what's going on of the medical procedures, or like, okay, what's the meaning above the meaning, like the meta meaning, right? And we were talking yesterday, and body image is a big thing for men and women, obviously. And I was telling Melanie that, hey, listen, sure, I don't want you to have a 5-hour surgery, and I feel bad that you have to go under and have all that stuff. It just makes me sad, kind of thing. And you were talking about, because I was under the impression first of like, okay, let's just, get all the foreign things out of your body, because that's just not natural and stuff like that. And you're like, well, maybe the other different kind of implants would be okay. And it's like, well, it's not my body, so you can, right? And then I was talking about whatever makes you feel the most confident, the most sexy, the most appealing, like what makes you feel the most in your own skin, right? It doesn't matter if I want you to have huge giant boobs because it turns me on, right? It matters how you feel about yourself, right? So if you don't do anything and you're just super flat chested and all you are is now super self conscious of it and just feel like crap and you're judging yourself more, that's going to equal like less connection and pleasure for us, less sexual satisfaction for both of us, less sex in general, I believe, and then just not that, right? And I'm not saying sex is the only way to connect and stuff like that. I'm not saying that. So what I'm saying is, hey, you do what brings you the most joy in that, right? And you said yesterday, you're like, I've never heard him talk like that before. So that's kind of different.
I did not say that.
You said something like that.
I've never heard you talk like that before, Seth.
Well, we're not doing like ad spots in like national radio or anything like that. But I did say something to that effect, and you said something to that effect of like, okay.
You're so weird. You said it about your own self. I did not say it about you.
I pointed it out. Sure.
Well, yeah, you did point it out, but I do think you have a good point in saying, what I got, the more I thought about it, I was like, I wish we could rewind time and you could have told me that before I had gotten them in.
Right.
And again, I don't know that would have even changed the course of what happened, but I think it would have changed the direction of the conversations at that time, Well,
for sure. But you know how different we were?
Oh yeah.
People 8 to 10 years ago.
Yeah. I thought that.
Kidding me?
I'm like we were aliens and
just
not
numbnuts doing nothing.
We were aliens and not the kind that are starting civilizations in the future.
No,
we weren't future civilization aliens.
Like single-celled brains
we
aliens,
amoebas, nematodes. I don't even know.
That's right.
Anemones. But anyway,
elaborate on what you were saying.
Well, like I think that. Well, sort of based on what you were saying, this idea of I don't care what you look like, I care that you're confident, right?
Right.
And so it started because I was saying if I just get the implants out, then I'm super flat chested. If I get a lift, even he's like, you have like no breast tissue, like getting a lift.
I didn't say that. The doctor said,
yeah, no.
You have like zero boobs.
You have no breast tissue. Ugh.
I thought you were going to say tits.
You have no tits. Where did the tits go? No, just kidding. No. So you were saying your preference was that I got them out completely and had a breast lift, which would equal me being flat, basically like super flat. And I told you, because you have talked about liking me heavier. And I said, well, if I'm heavier and I'm flat chested, I would feel weird. Like I would just feel like disproportionate myself.
Right.
And so I was like, well, then I would probably lose weight to try to like balance my body out. And you have said you don't like me skinny.
Right.
Look at how complicated this is becoming. And so then that was when you were like, I don't care how much you weigh. He's like, you could be 200 pounds or 98 pounds. If you're confident, he's like, as long as you're healthy and confident, that's all I care about. So that was when you were like, I've never even thought to say this before. And that's kind of where we wanted to bring this conversation to you guys, is that we've just never talked about it in that way.
Confidence is attractive sexually and non-sexually.
Right. Yes.
Confidence. Oh, you got this. You know what to do. Or even the confidence in you wanting something. Like we talked about this on another podcast, but we'll talk about it more. Like confidence in you saying, hey, I want the garage this way and this and this and this. Let's go do it together, or I'll do it myself, or whatever. Maybe not the garage, because that's like a home project or something like that. But like, hey, I want to get these jeans, and they're $100, and here's why I want them. Here's why I want them, and I look super good in them. I'll feel great in them. If you come to me with that kind of attitude, that confident attitude, I'm like, hell yeah,
right,
go get them, right? Which, I am confident. I am confident in how we manage money. I'm taking ownership and control of it this way. Here's, $100 a month for this, and this. I'm like, I can get on board that. She knows what the hell she's talking about.
Right.
And she's bringing that confidence. People love to follow confidence because it's like, okay, that's a leader. That's a person who seems to be like knowing what they're doing.
Right.
And even if they're not, we still are like inclined to follow them. Right.
And confident people don't even need to be physically attractive to be attractive. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's important. There's lots of examples of people who are like not super beautiful.
Right.
Or handsome.
And in the times, now I'm flipping over the sexual confidence, the times where you've been super sexually confident, like in your body or whatever, I'm like, hell yeah, let's go. This is great. This is exciting. It's stimulating, not just visually because you're naked or something like that. It's like, oh, I get to have sex. Oh, great. No, it's much more deeper than that. Like on an emotional level. You even said it before. Like when I show like confidence in certain things, you're like, okay, I can follow that, or I can do that. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
When I say, okay, all I can think of is Tony Baker. I talk like I'm Tony Baker all the time. People are like, what is she doing? Probably have no idea why. I would say like,
go follow Tony Baker on Instagram.
I know,
he's funny.
So funny.
But the point is, hey, 95 pounds, a zillion pounds, regular size boobs, deflated sacks. If you're confident in that, you yourself, if you're not self-conscious about that, and you can feel like you can walk around naked, or you can feel like, hey, let's go have sex, or you can feel like wearing a bathing suit, or you can feel like taking charge of this or taking charge of that, that is attractive. And I'm not just talking about sexually attractive. So all you ladies who think just guys want one thing, that's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
You especially. I'm not talking about that. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
So in relation to your boobs, I want us to, and I really honestly like how we've been using we language and us this whole time. Although it's your body. It's a thing, right? Like if I was going to get some medical procedure, you'd be like, oh yeah, we don't know what to do or what's the best option here. Right. It's not just like, I don't know, Seth will figure it out. Like I'm totally not in that line of thinking, right? So it is important that way. And I will say, whatever brings you that confidence, that self-assuredness, that self-esteem even. And I'm not talking about, big boobs make you have, now you're worth something. I'm not talking about that at all. I'm saying, what do you feel confident? What do you feel powerful? What do you feel empowered by, do that.
Mhm.
If it's nothing, okay. If it's something, okay. Right?
Nailed it.
Nailed it.
I like that. And I think that's a great place for people to open up conversation in their own relationships, like just around confidence with their partner, confidence in their partner, like allowing to just allowing you as a person to say to your spouse, hey, please tell me what makes you feel the most confident here.
Mm-hmm.
And confidence is a different feeling than attractive or,
Right.
I don't know what other word you would use. Apparently I can't think of any other thing, but
think about it this way. When I am on a run of 75 hard, right? Even from day one, later days, because I see like more physical changes and stuff like that, say day 40, where I'm just like, oh man, he's like, you can see there's a difference in his body.
Mm-hmm.
I have a different confidence in everything.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Decision-making, planning,
mm-hmm.
sexually, just the way you walk down the freaking street, it encompasses everything.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So I encourage you guys to think about it that way, not just like, okay, big boobs make me confident or whatever. If that's you, do it. Do it for the right reasons though. But do the things that make you feel confident, you know? So it's not just like one thing, like, okay, yeah, get a boob job. No, go read I Am Enough by Marissa Peer. Go like go meditate, go like get your mind right, all this stuff. And then all of it comes together. That's why 75 Hard is so great.
Get your mind right, little chef.
Hashtag Ratatouille, right? Speaking of getting your mind right, you can't do it alone. And that's why I created badasshusband.com, right?
Yes.
It's a mastermind. It's of high performance, high awesomeness dudes who have like-minded goals and aspirations and desires. And we come together to talk about this stuff where we hold each other accountable, we encourage one another, and we kick ass. There you go, right? You will be joined with a team where you will learn leadership skills, and also you will learn how to be vulnerable. A lot of us guys don't know how to be vulnerable, but when it's your turn to be man in the middle, you got 20 minutes of eight other dudes dissecting your life, helping you out, saying, I think you're going sideways on here, man. Let's don't go that way. Let's go this way. And you get encouragement. And also the power of networking. You're the sum of the 5 people you hang out with the most. For me, I want to hang out with dudes and ladies who are like up here killing it.
Who was it? It was one of our coaching clients, someone that's in the mastermind too. And I brought up the Astrovan in one of our calls, and they were like, Seth's trying to get you that Astrovan. And that cracked me up because
because I'm talking about it because there's
in the
another
mastermind.
person who is networking, right? So go to badasshusbands.com and schedule a call with me. We'll see if you're a good fit. Some people aren't. I've had some calls like, oh, okay, dude, I don't go work on yourself first, and then you come back to this high performance group. Badasshusband.com. Go there. Okay.
I'm trying to think of what else. There was something else I wanted to. Well, actually, I wanted to get your perspective on I want to talk about your perspective on my fake boobs and what that has been like for you. But is that not what you want to talk about? Because I feel like you keep trying to redirect what I say.
No,
you don't want to talk about it?
What's the thing?
I would like to know your perspective. So I want to use this episode partially as education for people who are considering this or have ever thought about it from both perspectives of the husband and the wife. Like from my perspective, I gave birth to 3 kids and had basically empty Lay's snackable bags hanging from my chest.
Your milk jugs were empty.
Very, very empty. And I just didn't like how I felt.
See, even that joke, like what could you say about my nuts if I had to they're empty after I had kids and now I got to get them inflated? You're like, oh yeah, empty nutsack.
I think it's funny that
put air in there. Go to the gas station and get some air.
In England, the peanuts were called monkey nuts.
They were?
Yeah, and it cracked me up. I took pictures of it.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's funny. But
so anyway, I think that for part of me was like, ooh, hell yeah, kind of thing, just like, okay, yeah, that's attractive. Boobs are attractive. And I was like, oh yeah. But then the other part of me was like, am I being a super douche and like in trying to like persuade
I'm the one who brought it up
this?
though, remember?
Right.
It was me. It wasn't you.
Right. But still, that was in the back of my mind years ago. I was like, is this right? Should I do this? I don't know. I mean, not should I do this? It wasn't me, but
noodle, don't noodle.
Noodle, don't noodle, right? Because in a decent marriage relationship, you want to support your partner in ways, and sometimes supporting them might be like, hey, I don't think this is good for our relationship, which that's happened to us mutually several times, which has been basically turned out good. So yeah, there was part hell yeah, and there was part guilt of like, oh, I don't know. I remember I felt super bad after you got them and I picked you up because you were literally post-op halfway out of it. And I was like, shit.
Right. I threw up in the car.
I feel so, what did we do?
Right.
What have we done? Kind of thing, right? But then like you healed and then it was pretty cool.
Right. And I do want to talk about that. Like, I think I wish that I had gotten better care at the other place. And when I say better care, better education is really what I mean. Cause there's like all these differences in like the shape of the boobs you get, the size of the boobs you get, like the projectile point direction of and I'm not even kidding. It's like so many things to factor in that it's ridiculous. And like, I'm trying to think of like, it's like buying a gun. You don't just go get a gun. There's like 800,000 kinds of guns that you could get. Right. And everything is like, oh, this one's made of aluminum. This one's made of metal. This one's made of galvanized steel. This one's made of these springs. I don't even know. Springs.
I know you don't know. That's why I'm just letting it go.
But so there's so many things to factor in. And I just feel like had I had someone to kind of guide me through that, I would have been more happy with the results of the initial boob job.
Right. And so
and the outcome would have been different.
Right. So fast forward now, I think maybe because it was a not so good boob job, you kind of got self-conscious about it a little bit. Am I right?
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Cause the implants were too big for like literally my body size.
Right. So,
and I'm not showy. Like this is what I wear all the time. I just wear like hoodies.
So I think that factor has been a thing. And then again, me being like, dang it, now you have to have another surgery, which is actually,
cool. That's another thing that's really common. Nobody told me that you get boob jobs like every 10 years. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's like 8 to 10 years.
I had no... You're the one who wanted these stands
attached
to the thing.
No, it wasn't. You wanted these stands,
No, it would have done it with the other one. That's why I don't like things attached to tables.
Would it have? Anyway, what was I saying? So yeah, current feelings now, I'm like, oh, you got to get a thing, so that's not cool, kind of thing. But I think the realizations that we're having are pretty helpful, and none of it would have happened. None of these realizations would have happened had we not done that stuff. Right. You know, it's like hindsight's 2020. We can't obviously change the future or anything like that. So
change the past, you mean?
COVID brain got me down. Have you heard Hattie do? She goes, moving 92.5.
Oh yeah, she does a radio station. It's really Brooke and Jeff in the morning or whatever it is.
So the thing is I feel sorry for you. I feel bad about like, okay, how much did I influence this whole thing? Mm-hmm. Now you have to have a second surgery, which is not cool, you know, and you kind of got sick from it. It's like, damn it. I don't want to be responsible for you being sick or something, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like, what if I said, hey, go get a nut job? And now I'm like ill about it. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm like physically ill and I have to have another surgery. You wouldn't be like sad for him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
So part of it feels like, oh, I'm sad for you there. And the other part is sincerely do what makes you feel the best. Mm-hmm. Right. So part of it's, I don't know if that's self-interest or not. I mean, well,
everything is self-interest.
Everything is self-interest. Yes. So yes, it is. Because I know that when you do the right thing for you, you feel more confident and then I get to have sex with you more. So that's kind of selfish. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. No, I'm serious. It's like,
I'm not worried about being selfish or not. So it sounds like you're worried about that, but
it's just these things we think about. It's like,
what did you just?
Micro SD card has limited space remaining. It's still recording, so
okay. Oh my gosh, we do need to wrap it up.
It's got 15 minutes, so
Hattie's got to go to Taekwondo, so we have to wrap it up.
Oh, I have a call to a potential mastermind code.
A mastermind. Okay. Anyway, so we just wanted to share with you a little bit of our journey and sort of the hilarity of the conversation of Seth getting his ball injected with silicone. For some reason, it sounded so funny to us. Well, larger balls,
right? But I think the major point of this is encouraging you guys to have real conversations. Right. We're not just talking about boobs and nuts here, deflated or inflated.
It's gonna be the name of the episode.
Boobs and nuts. That's
boobs
pretty good.
And balls.
Boobs and nuts sounds better, I think. But encouraging you to have these real conversations. I've been remiss for going years without having real conversations, like real conversations, not to the point of like, okay, it's been 3 months. What's on your mind? Nothing. I I fucking hate everything. Right? Because that's usually what guys do. Some of us do. We blow up and then tell our real feelings. And Melanie's like, what are you talking about, bro?
Right.
You haven't told me this for 2 months. What's going on? Right. So I personally, man to man, am encouraging you guys to have these real conversations. Conflict avoided is conflict multiplied. And I'm not interested in multiplying and receiving the compound effects of negative stuff anymore.
Right.
And the tool is to talk about this shit.
Right. It's kind of like, it made me think of, for some reason, every time you don't talk about something, imagine just having it, if it's a real thing, like, oh, I didn't talk about my feelings. Okay, I'll just put it in my backpack that I
exactly
carry
what it
every
is.
single place I go, every single where I go.
And then how does that affect your spouse? If I'm carrying a big ass backpack, then I can't walk as fast as you anymore. Hey, keep up. What's going on?
And,
you know
and
what I'm
like
saying?
even think of intimacy, like, why don't you want to ever be intimate with me? And you're like, I've got a backpack of all the things that I never said to you and all the things that you should have done differently, but I never communicated. Like you're just burdened by this massive weight of your unexpressed thoughts or whatever. And
Sick
is right.
So don't do it. You guys, if this has piqued your interest in any way, go to badasshusband.com or email us hello@anatomyofmarriage.com to talk more about coaching and how coaching has really just changed our whole world. If you're eager for that, for that change and you're ready for that change and you're willing to invest your time and your money and your emotions into it, then make the call right now. Schedule a call with us. We'll get on the phone, talk about if coaching is good for you, and we will go from there.
Do you want a group of guys to help you do life? You do your Brady voice.
No, now that sounds like a church youth group or something. Let's do life together.
It's a community group. Anyway, just kidding. It's not.
No.
So
if
yes.
you want to talk about real shit and get your ass kicked and kick other people's asses and grow and make more money and have better sex and all these things, join Baddest Husband Mastermind. Right?
Yes. And please rate and review our show on iTunes. We are literally like 4 ratings and reviews
We've
away
been
from
4 ratings
1,000.
away for like 800 years. So come on, people.
It's been longer than that.
All right,
Anyway.
we love you guys. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you later.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.